All right, so it's day one of Advent of Code 2020. I've always enjoyed doing these kinds of little problems from time to time to sort of exercise sort of my proficiency with a given language. So taking a look here, and I think I might try and solve this one in Ruby. So there's a lot of preamble up there, but the problem when it comes down to it is we're given a big list of numbers like this, and we need to go through and find the two entries in that list that sum up to 2020. And then once we've found those two entries, they want us to multiply them, and it's the number that comes out of that multiplication that is going to be our answer that we plug in down here. So we can get our puzzle input here. So pop that open. It's just a big list. I'm going to grab the whole thing. Copy that over. Let's jump over to the terminal. So make a folder for today. Jump into there, and I think it said there's two parts. So I'll create part1.ruby, and we're just going to create a list of all of our input. And so I'm going to paste in everything that I copied out of that input right here. See, we got about 200 lines. I'm going to do a visual block selection of this, jump to the end of those lines, Shift A, put a colon in it, or a comma. It puts a comma at the end of all those, so that's nice. Indent that over. Now I've got my input. So now we need to, I guess, process this entire list, or probably process it, like do a doubly nested pass over it so that we can do comparisons of, say entry 5 from the list with entry 7 from the list to see, does it add up to 2020? And then if so, we can do the multiplication. I feel like a lot of these kinds of puzzles like this tend to involve doubly nested list comparisons like this. So in Ruby, we've got all kinds of enumerable functions. So I'll start there, and I know there's each with index, which will give me like the input value and some index. Right, so if it's the first item in the list, it's going to be 0. Or it'll be the input value, and then it'll be 0 for its index. So on and so forth. So we'll start there. But like I said, we're going to have to pass over this twice. I'm going to just open up another nested block within. And then I guess we don't want to call these the same thing. So I'm going to call this input 2, input 1, X, Y. Okay. So my reading of the problem was that we're never going to, it's two different line items, so we're not going to want to compare like the 0th item with the 0th item. So if X and Y, the indices are the same, I'm just going to skip. I'm going to say next if X equals Y. Otherwise, we'll say, if input 1 plus input 2 equals 2020. I don't know, we can puts out input 2. So that would just print it to the console once we're in the program. And that's probably fine, though if we find the answer early, I don't want it to continue to process the entire list. So maybe we can use like Ruby's throw catch construct to handle that. So if I say Ruby throw catch. I just want to find catch kernel. There we go. So yeah, we want to do something like this where if we meet some sort of condition, so we have a catch block, and then everything that happens inside the catch block will be fine and run to completion unless we throw. So if it runs to completion, whatever the final value is what catch will return. But if we throw something with the identifier that we give it, then it's that value that we throw that'll be returned. So yeah, let's do something like that. So we'll say catch, and this is just our catch object, I guess. That's how we can identify where it should jump to. And so we'll say, if we get here, we want to throw object with input 1 times input 2. And then, yeah, this will just return our answer. So we can say answer equals that, indent the rest of this, and we can put our answer. Now what's it yelling at me? Favor modifier if usage when. I don't recognize that, but sometimes it wants you to use a guard clause instead of these single line if statements. So I'll just say next unless so the majority of the time, one of these two guard clauses is just going to bump us into the next item in the iteration. But when we do eventually find our match, then we'll throw, which will pop us out of the context of this doubly nested loop. If we somehow get down to here and have not found an answer, that's a problem and we're doing something wrong. So I'll say raise standard error not found. I don't expect to hit that, but that could be nice to know if we do. So I feel pretty good about this, although I don't know how long this is going to run, and I'd like some indication of the progress it's making. So Ruby print without new line. I've looked at this before. Okay, print in flesh. Cool. So it just calls a print statement and then fleshes standard out. So we'll grab that, I guess. Oops. And then I guess I want to know basically every single time, except for maybe not the ones that are just the same index. So we'll print flush here, save that, and let's give it a try. And what did we do wrong? Wrong number of arguments for each with index. Or print and flush wrong number of arguments. Oh, because I didn't actually pass it something to print. Okay. So let's run that again. Oh, That ran really fast. We processed a lot of things, and this is the result. Let's plug it in and see how we did. All right, got a gold star. Maybe we'll do part 2, but that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.